Shalom, shalom, and welcome. Welcome to White Robes family. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I am compelled to present before an awakening set-apart nation, consisting of both Abrahym and Goym, Goym meaning other nation, Abrahym, commonly known as Hebrews, true Hebrews, and Goym, other nations, my brothers and sisters, who together seek to do the will of the Almighty Father Yahuah and are drawn by him to Yahusha Mashyach. Before I get into this 27th installment, my brothers and sisters, there is something I must present. I present to you this disclaimer, and I invite you to read it carefully. What's most important is that the messages presented in White Robes family are to those who believe they are drawn by the Almighty Father Yahuah to Yahusha HaMashiach. By continuing to go forward, you agree to hold me harmless of any influence and actions that arise as a result of watching, listening, and reviewing this content. Please be advised, the words presented do not reflect the managers, owners, and shareholders of this media platform. With that said, let's get into this segment, my brothers and sisters. This segment is entitled Judging Milk to Meat. Milk to meat, my brothers and sisters. Discernment is required. You know, my brothers and sisters, if we read throughout the scriptures, there are times of death from children to adults. There have been no discrimination as it relates to age. The scriptures tell us that he reigned on the just and the unjust. Things can happen to the just just as much as they can the unjust. They can happen to the unjust just as they can happen to the just. But on the matter of judging from right or wrong, on the matter of discerning between right or wrong, you see the color scheme as blue. Blue representing the Feast of Unleavened Bread. For I believe one of the purpose of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is to emphasize the need to discern between right and wrong, to know the difference between unleavened versus leavened influences. The difference is important. To disregard the need to lean on the Spirit of the Almighty Father in Yahushua's name so that we can discern between right and wrong, good and evil. To disregard it would be a travesty. This message, my brothers and sisters, is critical to our life and to the building up of a set-apart nation. Let us press forward. Second Corinthians chapter 3. I ask that we together discern the life in these two passages. It says, who also made us competent as servants of a renewed covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. My brothers and sisters, it is important to realize that the original scriptures were inspired by the Almighty Father. The different texts we see now as scriptures are commonly known by some who still say the pagan term representing the collection of scriptures known as the Bible. The original scriptures, my brothers and sisters, inspired by the living voice and spirit of the Almighty Father Yahuah. And we must always lean towards his living spirit to make known and make alive the letter. So though man has tampered and juggled words around throughout the scriptures in the Bible, they cannot juggle the words from the Almighty Father. In the name of Yahusha, they cannot change the author, the inspirer of what was originally written. Let me also read Matthew 22:29. It said, Yahusha answered and said to them, you go astray, not knowing the scriptures nor the power of the Almighty One. You see, my brothers and sisters, knowing the scriptures is not enough. It's like stealing someone's toolbox and ravaging through it to grab whatever tool you want to use when you just lean on the letter. But when you lean on the Master, Yahuah, in the name of Yahusha, then the skilled master the Almighty Father instructs us to what tool, what scripture to reach for that is applicable to the orders that he's given us. You see, there are certain passages that appear to be contradictory. There are certain passages that appear to conflict. But my brothers and sisters, we will learn how to rightly use the scriptures as he sees fit. If you recognize and remember, if not, visit the life of Yahusha Mashyach, Yahuwah's word manifests in the person of Yahusha walking this earth. Visit the story, the true story. Visit how he set straight what scripture meant. Example, when the issue came up about Shabbat, and he rebuffed the Pharisees and Sadducees, and he stated that Shabbat was made for man, not man for Shabbat. There are other instances of things that the Almighty Father, in the name of Yahusha, in the person of Yahusha, demonstrated before us to let us know how to rightly interpret and understand his words. Yahusha here is saying a person can go astray, not knowing the scriptures in the power. You see, many know the scripture, but not the power. We must discern, my brothers and sisters, what is important, what is critical. There's more. Come with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, 1 through 3. It reads as follows. And I, brothers, was not able to speak to you as to spiritual ones, but as to fleshly, as to babes in Messiah. I fed you with milk and not with solid food, for until now you were not able to receive it, and even now you are still not able, for you are still fleshly. For since there is envy and strife and divisions among you, you are not fleshly and walking according to man. My brothers and sisters, milk, solid food, babes, meat. Can we determine when one will get meat, or should we lean on the spirit of Yahusha? Is it about what a person says, or is it about their witness, their actions? There are more people still on milk, but want to say that they graduated to meat, yet they do not know the power of the scriptures, the power of the Almighty Father in making the scriptures alive. Let me continue to read. Hebrews 5, 12 through 14 say, for indeed, what I just read was 1 Corinthians 3, 1 through 3. Hebrews 5, 12 through 14 say, for indeed, although by this time you ought to be teachers, you need someone to teach you again the first elements of the words of the Almighty One. And you have become such as need milk and not solid food. For everyone partaking of milk is inexperienced in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But solid food is for the mature, whose senses have been trained by practice to discern both good and evil. Let me read that again. Hebrews 5:14. But solid food is for the mature, whose senses have been trained by practice to discern both good and evil. You see, my brothers and sisters, we are to test the spirits. We are to examine ourselves. We ought to know what it means to submit ourselves one to another. Are we practicing? Are we discerning? Are we being trained by the Spirit of the Most High? There is still yet more to read. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. Come with me to Ephesians 5, 15 through 21. And though this literally and initially is talking about husband and wives, I want to bring your attention to the 21st verse, Ephesians 5:21. I said 5:15 through 21. Feel free to read it, or even the whole chapter. But specifically, I will read 5:21. Subjecting yourselves to each other in the fear of the Almighty One. I've spoken on this before, and I'll say again. What this means by subjecting yourself to each other is the leaning and discerning on the Almighty Father's Spirit, subjecting to him as he worked in us, through us, one towards another. Some people will take that and throw the letter An academic, one who just look at the letter, would say this is just about husband and wives. An academic and letter manipulator would say this is just about husband and wives. Oh yeah, it might. They may even throw in that you're supposed to submit to me or you with no qualifier. We're submitting to yield to the Almighty Father's Spirit working in us, through us, one towards another. This is what this is inferring, my brothers and sisters. Beyond the literal, there is a spiritual emphasis and strengthening to you, to me, to Yashar'al. Let us continue. My brothers and sisters, remember where judgment begins. It is written that judgment begins at the house of the Almighty Father. I ask you this question. Can a child be the house of the Almighty Father? Can an adult be the child? Can an adult be the house of the Almighty Father? Can a senior citizen, from infant to senior, we don't know the specific age of the individual and their ability to judge between right and wrong. But the Almighty Father Yahuah knows. It is important for us to understand, my brothers and sisters, that there are scriptures that talk about children being destroyed along with adults. Visit Numbers 16th chapter. You'll see where Dathan, Korah, and I'm drawing a blank for the other one, but it was Dathan, Korah, and Abrahym, I believe. They challenged the leadership of the Almighty Father. As a result of that, Mashyach was directed to invite all those who believe he was led by the Almighty Father to come towards him and be on his side. And all those who not gather around those who challenge the leadership of the Almighty Father. And the end result we witnessed was the great sinkhole, a great sinkhole that not only swallowed the adults, but the children, their household, and the things that were with them. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, judgment from milk to meat. Judgment is all in there. Believe it or not, a child can discern from right or wrong on some things. Even an adult, a senior citizen with Alzheimer's can discern right or wrong on some things. Remember, the scriptures say we prophesy in part. We teach in part, my brothers and sisters. By us not being able to put a definitive age, let us be mindful. The Almighty Father knows. Who is aware of how the people probably judged David? The adults talked about Goliath and how the Philistines had a giant and the challenge that was faced. How many are aware David probably say, wait a minute, you raised me to believe we serve an Almighty One. You raised me to believe we can do all things as guided by the Almighty One. We can be conquered by the Almighty One. Give me a stone. And David put a rock and slung it and slayed Goliath. Who would have ever figured out this scrawny little man at that time could kill this big, huge giant? But David made a judgment. I shall slay him, for I serve the Almighty One. Let us not underestimate, my brothers and sisters, just with having the strength and power to execute judgment, so can judgment be rendered towards individuals of young age. The time is now, my brothers and sisters, that we do not allow our emotions to get in the way of the judgment that will go forth. My brothers and sisters, I can't emphasize, we don't know the age. So we want to save our children, protect our children, guard our children. It is important to teach our children. Let us follow the leading of the Spirit of Yahusha, because only He alone knows what our children will become tomorrow, the next day, what the future steps and future lives of our children hold. Are we not aware of the scripture saying, you can't get a bad fruit? How can I put it? In other words, you can't get thistles from a fruit tree, and you can't get fruit from a thistle, from thistles. Now, I could be messing that up. The bottom line is the seed of a person has been planted. The scriptures tell us that the Most High knew us before we were even formed in our mother's womb. So the seed of an individual, the seed of Abraham is the seed of set apartness. It's the seed of the Almighty Father. The life that we've received in him. So what I'm saying is, my brothers and sisters, though we may disregard that it is the Almighty Father that gives breath and life, though we may disregard that it is the inward man that ultimately is influencing the outward man, we may believe one thing, but the realities are this. Judgment comes. There will be young and old executing judgment, and there will be young and old receiving judgment. And judgment can come either in discipline, vengeance, or wrath. Pray, O Yashar'al, for I know in the gathering, some will have to leave their children. Some children will have to leave their parents. Some seniors will have to leave young ones. Some young ones will have to leave old ones. The age, the Almighty Father knows, and it is he who will guide us through. Again, I say to you, my brothers and sisters, visit the 16th chapter of Numbers and understand the dynamics and the risks that come with making the wrong decision. From milk to meat. Numbers 16th chapter talks about the great sinkhole. Households were included. My brothers and sisters, this next slide is one that I've put up before and I've spoken on before, so I will not elaborate too much on it. I'll be quick. It's about the fear of Yahuah, how it brings knowledge, refuge, and more. It is about Proverbs 1:7 and Proverbs 14:26. One speaks of the fear of Yahuah and how fools despise wisdom and discipline, and the other speaks of the fear of Yahuah, how trust is necessary, and how he brings a place of refuge. I'm posting it, but I will not elaborate too much more on it. Moving right along, my brothers and sisters. The time is now. The time is now to discover the importance of being focused and disciplined. I've spoken of how the scriptures talk about let your eyelids look straight, press forward. There's a lot of actions because in terms of addressing the atrocities that's been done to us about our history. Pay close attention, my brothers and sisters. How much time you spend on that could take you away from focusing on what must be done now. Discipline will come among Yashar'al. How then do you think we can have 144,000, 12,000 of each of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al, along with a great multitude together, whose robes are washed in the blood of the Lamb? How then do you think they will emerge unless there is discipline, unless we witness them being focused, unless we are focused? Moving right along, my brothers and sisters. There will be relocation and lifestyle changes. Here you see the bullets. I've presented before in other recordings. You can pause it and read it. But what's most important, my brothers and sisters, there's a plan to bring Yashar'al together, and many details and processes are taken under consideration and are necessary. Read the bullets, for they highlight the dynamics of the plan. Consider whether you will be involved. And this plan is in part of a working plan that is greater than it. And I believe the Almighty Father has led me to bring White Road's family, lead it into a plan that will contribute towards the gathering of Yashar'al in a way that we have never imagined, that will bring unity before the physical return of Yahusha Mashyach. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. Relocation will come. There will be changes. There will be those included and those left behind. Yashar'al, if these words bring any life to your ears or to your eyes, consider subscribing, consider sharing. I ask for your support. Your support can come in many different ways, my brothers and sisters. Do as you believe you are guided. Count the cost, O Yashar'al. Use what you have or risk losing it. For the day will come when all wealth as we know it will be stripped as intensity comes during end times, as the great tribulation is seen through our eyes and heard through our ears and received by our spirit. The things we possess now, many of which, or much of which, will be removed. Use it or lose it. Remember the talents, the parable of the talents, my brothers and sisters. Reality or fear-mongering? You choose, you respond, the fruit of your decision is yours and yours alone, O Yashar'al. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. Judging, milk to meat, requires discernment. There are no rewind buttons. Do not take offense if a child should correct you. Do not take offense if someone younger than you corrects you. Do not take offense if someone that is of senior age correct you. This is the age where judgment begins at the house of the Most High, and it will echo very loudly and produce a refined and disciplined group who will be the 144,000, 12,000 Hebrews or Abrahym from the 12 tribes of Yashar'al, as mentioned in Revelation 7, along with a great multitude, also mentioned in Revelation 7, who together will have their white robes washed by the blood of the Lamb, meaning there will be actions that will produce an awakening set-apart nation like the world has never seen. Judging milk to meat, let us be prepared to manage our emotions, for it may be hard to accept the judgment that is executed that may lead to someone's sickness or death, that may lead to someone being swallowed in a sinkhole or as a result of an earthquake or a tsunami or consumed by fire. Judging milk to meat, let us have a keen ear and mind. Again, this color here represents the second feast of unleavened bread that requires us to judge between right or wrong. With that said, I salute your patience, your tolerance, your pursuit of set-apartness. Rise up, O Yashar'al, there is much work to be done. In the name of Yahusha Mashyach, I bid you much. Shalum.